verse 12 says, "As for the rest of the beasts," those that came before this final beast, "they had their dominion taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season and a time." Now, what is this talking about? With the past empires, after their dominion was taken away, they continued to exist for a time. To give you maybe a modern-day example, the British Empire. The Empire of Great Britain was once a huge world empire. It was said that the sun never sets on the British Empire because they possessed so much territory. And Great Britain is no longer the empire that it once was, but it still exists. It still has influence in the world. It still has power. It's just to a lesser degree. Its power has declined, but its power hasn't disappeared. And what it's talking about here in verse 12, and what it's getting at, is when Jesus Christ returns and sets up his kingdom, the empire of the little horn, the empire of the Antichrist, will be completely crushed and done away with. It's not going to continue on. And Jesus Christ will reign on earth as the one and only potentate on the earth. And up to now, throughout history, empires come and go, and those empires, quite often, they kind of lose power, over time or disappear over time. But when Christ returns, he's going to judge the Antichrist. He's going to judge this beast. He's going to destroy this beast and his kingdom once and for all. And he's going to rule and reign as king. And so verse 13, "I was watching in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man coming with the clouds of heaven." This is Jesus Christ. "He came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. Then to him, the Son of Man, was given dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all peoples," notice that, "all peoples, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion," unlike all the other empires that came and kingdoms that came before him, "his dominion is an everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away. And his kingdom, the one which shall not be destroyed." Unlike all the kingdoms of man that have come and gone and that will come and go, and all the governments of mankind that have come and gone, and all the world leaders that have come and gone, and all the world leaders that will come and go in this world, Christ's dominion will be an everlasting dominion. His kingdom will never pass away and will never be destroyed. Christ will reign forever and ever. Amen? That's what he's telling us here in this vision. Now, for you note takers, the title, "the Son of Man," in verse 13, this was one of Jesus' favorite titles for himself. He described himself often as the Son of Man. He was referring back to this passage here in Daniel chapter 7, this one who will reign forever and ever and have dominion over all the earth forever and ever. Jesus actually quoted verse 13 the night of his arrest, when he was on trial before the religious leaders. Matthew chapter 26, verse 63, the high priest said to Jesus, "I put you under an oath by the living God. Tell us if you are the Christ, the Son of God." And then Jesus answered, "It is as you said. Nevertheless, I say to you, hereafter you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of the power and coming on the clouds of heaven." He quotes Daniel chapter 7, verse 13. And when he quotes Daniel chapter 7, verse 13, high priest knows exactly what he's saying. He's saying, "I'm the Son of Man that will have dominion over all the earth. I'm the one who will be king over all the earth, and my kingdom will not be destroyed." And so the high priest rent his garments and said, "He has spoken blasphemy. What further need do we have of a witness? Look now, you have heard his blasphemy. What do you think?" And the Sanhedrin all answered and said, "He is deserving of death." And because he makes this statement, that's the final straw, and they say, he's deserving of death. And so now beginning in verse 15, Daniel's dream is interpreted for us. I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit within my body, and the visions of my head, they troubled me. I came near to one of those who stood by, and I asked him the truth of all this. So he told me and made known to me the interpretation of these things. Now, we aren't told who this person is or who this being is that Daniel spoke to and asked him about this dream. It may be an angel, we don't know. But this, whoever it is, this person or this being, whatever, gives him the interpretation of these things. He tells him, those great beasts which are four kings, which arise out of the earth. But the saints of the Most High shall receive the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. That's the end of the story, really. He said, yeah, there's going to be these four empires, these four kings, but the saints of the Most High shall receive the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever and ever. You know, Daniel's vision here, it reminds us of something that I think is very important for us to remember, especially in these days, that the future of this world is in God's hands. And that all of the kingdoms and all of the governments and all of the leaders, everything in this world ultimately is in God's hands, and ultimately God will prevail. And God's will prevail on the earth. You know, the most often prayed prayer that Christians pray is what is known as the Lord's Prayer. And I would say that prayer has been prayed more throughout church history than any other prayer. And one day God is going to answer that prayer. And His kingdom will come, and His will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And that's what Daniel is telling us here. That yes, you're going to have these kingdoms that are going to come, and yes, things are going to look bad for God's people in the world, but ultimately, God will prevail. And ultimately, Jesus Christ, the Son of Man, will come, and He will establish His kingdom on the earth. And His dominion will be an everlasting dominion. And that's ultimately where things are going.